Hi, and welcome to Syrup Shots Gaming, the only podcast just like going to a diner late at night and taking a shot of syrup. It's probably a bad idea, but we're going to do it anyway. With me this week is Dave.
Exactly. Hey, everybody, how's it going?
Good. It's going good on my end.
That was a great intro. Mwah, chef kiss. Or actually more like which is the sound your mouth makes after taking a syrup shot.
Yeah.
So we've had some interesting times this week when it comes to gaming. So let me start off to you. This is, ladies and gentlemen, is actually a public service announcement for you all called Back Up Your Data. And luckily, by saving grace, and I will say that on the one hand, this is kind of creepy because I don't recall ever asking for this, but at the same time, I'm so happy they did this. But my Xbox One over this weekend on Friday night decided to get apparently what is known as the dreaded black screen of death. So I don't know if this was due to like a bad update when it was offline and just updating, but what happened was I could turn it on, I could see the Xbox logo and startup animation. It would go to black. On that black would appear "Hi David," and then it would just be black and I couldn't do anything. But I could still pull up the menu, however, to shut the console off. But I could not get the dashboard to work. I couldn't even hear noises that the dashboard was working. It just wasn't any video or anything. It was gone. And I tried many things. And eventually what happened is the Xbox just crashed and reset itself to factory settings. And I was very heartbroken. I had a 260 plus hour save for Monster Hunter World that I play with all of these guys on there, and I was pretty sure it was all gone. Now, the saving grace was when I started it back up, everything loaded up, it was fine, and it was like nothing had happened, but at the same time, it was also thinking it was brand new, so I had to, reset my time zones, but luckily I was able to log in with my Xbox login, and it immediately was like, oh, we recognize some of your settings from your previous Xbox, which is this Xbox, but we don't know that. And so it restored that. And also, it had apparently reset the factory settings, but it had kept all my games. So it recognized all of the stuff that I owned, what I had, but the save data was gone until something magical happened. So I started slowly, just just to test, I put in Resident Evil 2 because that was like the last game I had finished, and just to see, make sure is the save data gone. And I plugged it in, but then, lo and behold, Microsoft in a great gleaming bright light from heaven. Well, actually, it was a gray screen that popped up, and it says syncing data with cloud. And sure enough, all of my save data had apparently been backed up to the cloud. I had not ever set this to do this, but I guess since I do have gold, it did save all my save data, and it did remember everything. There were a couple hiccups, I'm not going to lie, but I got everything back, and it took a long amount of time, but the only thing I truly ended up losing was I did have to rebuy a season of content for Killer Instinct for $50. I had to buy a season and a character for $50, and then I had to also take forever because I don't play fighting games really on my Xbox except for Killer Instinct because it's only available for that, and the Dead or Alive series because Well, that's what I'm used to playing it on because from the original Xbox all through Xbox 360, that's all. Dead or
Was
Alive
on.
was it was an exclusive, so I've just kind of stayed. But with Dead or Alive having so much DLC that I've bought a couple of things from, and each one of them being its own separate download, I had to keep reinserting that game, and then it would be like, "Oh, we found some of your DLC," and then I'd go check. It's not all there. I'd have to open up the store in the game, and then back out of the store. Oh, we found some of your DLC. You will have to restart the game. And I had to probably do that 5 times. And what was worse is I have Dead or Alive 5 and 6 on that game.
Oh,
And Dead or Alive 6 had over 190 downloads for itself. It took forever, but I did finally get that all back. So, for $50 in time, that is what I was happy to have sacrificed to get all of that back. And knock on all the wood, everything is perfectly fine now. Fingers
nice.
crossed.
Nice. So I was actually looking into it. So for Sony, you have to pay PlayStation Plus to get cloud backup. You have to pay for Nintendo Online to have cloud backup. With Xbox, you had to pay for cloud backup only until October of last year. It is now free for everyone.
Beautiful, blessed Microsoft. I know you're probably using that data to also recommend stuff. The game is probably like, you like Dead or Alive and costumes that are scantily clad women. You might also like pornography, Dave. Jeez.
Well, you know what? They were already collecting that when you purchased it. This is just an extra nice little touch. I've been saying for a while now that Xbox has been making moves that have been consumer friendly, and I hope they continue that trend. That's what's really going to create healthy competition. That'll be good for the consumer.
And I think what I'm going to do personally is I'm going to invest in a series of flash drives. And I'm probably going to I'm going to go on Amazon, find some nice end flash drives that are in different colors.
Oh yeah.
And literally color code the thing. So it's just okay, we've got the dull green for Xbox One. We've got the navy blue for PS4. We've got bright blue for Wii U, and stuff like that, just for save data, and label them and put them in a drawer, and occasionally update them maybe every 6 months. Well, maybe not every 6 months if I'm continually playing on that console.
Yeah. And inevitably, whenever you get the next Xbox, everything will just transfer over. So
that's true. Yeah, it was almost to the point. It's just should I just invest in a Series X right now? And I got a nice raise at work for because teachers get raises every year. So I was like, should I? But I didn't want to buy one off of eBay necessarily.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep, no warranty, no store warranty when you buy off eBay.
Sad but true.
Yep, Dave, yep. Mm-hmm.
It's confession time. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned.
Oh. Am I Father? Wow. I'm coming up in life. I am the worst person to admit secrets. Well, actually, I'm pretty good. Depends on how funny it is or not.
An old game, actually 2 old games, have sunk their teeth into me again.
Oh.
And they're not letting go. I'm addicted. It's just straight up right in the veins.
Mm-hmm.
One of them you won't be surprised on. Destiny 2.
Yeah, I was about to ask. Does it rhyme with roastiny?
Oh my goodness, Dave! They announced Evil Guardians. It's so good. The upcoming stuff is so good.
Oh yeah.
The one that will surprise you though is back when we were kids, we collected Pokemon cards.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people collected them for the collection.
That was me.
I collected them to play.
Okay. Oh, are you playing digitally now, or?
I am playing digitally, but the way you get more cards is you buy cards in the real world, and then you get a booster pack in the game.
Okay.
So I've got I've got cards.
That's okay.
Well, here's the thing. I don't need them. I don't really want the physical cards. So, I never go clean out stores just to sell them and make a profit there. But I am probably going to put these online for reasonable prices just to make some of my money back. That's reasonable, right?
Yeah. Or again, like I've mentioned on the podcast before, when I tried to get back into it, remember I found some really good cards. And it was when X and Y came back out. And so I had some, I believe it was like a full art. I managed to get Yveltal and Xerneas, and both like the full art cards. And I was able to sell those for probably like 25 each, a decent amount. But that helped me recoup the cost of a lot of the cards. So I just sold the select few. But then I told you I put them all in a box and gave them to a child. And
and that's probably what I'll do is I'll probably the standard cards. I'll probably give it to some of our friends who have kids around here. But the higher end ones I'll probably sell because actually I'm just going to share here. It's sharing time, class. It's sharing time. Okay. I have a shiny Suicune.
Oh, nice.
Full out Gyarados.
Oh, nice, cool.
And then a secret full art Zeraora.
I don't even know who that Pokemon is. I'm a bit behind. Remember, the last I played was X and Y, but I sunk over 150 hours in that.
That one is basically the Celebi or Mew of Sun and Moon.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. Interesting.
Its big claim to fame is it's an electric type that has an electric move that makes all normal moves electric moves.
Okay. So that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, good. So I get the cards, I go play online, I can play on my iPad, I can play on my computer. It's so much fun, Dave. It's so much fun.
Okay.
You're judging me, I can tell.
No, I'm not. I'm sorry. I was telling you earlier, I have a computer problem, and that keeps popping up while we're doing the podcast. I'm trying to do two things at once. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be doing that.
You're good.
No. I'm just... Now, is there a league in your area that you can actually play, or are you
I just play random people online.
Okay. You're more in it for digital, I see.
Yeah. Okay. That's exactly it. It's one of those things where, well, you saw my house. We have a decent house, but it is limited on space, and I just don't need these things all over the place.
I got you.
So what I'll do, like I said, with the lower end cheaper cards, I'll either give them to friends or keep them for when me and my wife eventually have a kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. And no, nothing knocking playing with the digital cards. As a matter of fact, that was one way I was able to make money to recoup again some of the money I lost when I tried. Those digital codes, I amassed 25, I think. And so then I literally put them online on eBay, I would send you the code cards for I didn't put the codes on eBay, of course, but I just showed a picture of the front of all the cards and it just with the code on it and just I started the bidding. I think I literally got $1 each for them. So I put up a thing at 25 and I got $25.
$25. Yeah. And there's no shipping cost with that, so.
Exactly. I'm just I even asked the guy, I can ship these to you, or do you just want me to, take a picture of the codes and send them to you? Oh, just do that. Oh, that's great. Okay. Here Perfect. You go. Yep.
Very nice. Well, I think let's take a quick break here for our sponsors, and then we'll get into the main topic of the show.
Sounds good.
Perfect. This episode is brought to you by Syrup Shots Gaming Podcast. Like going to a diner late at night, taking a shot of syrup. It's probably a bad idea, but we're going to do it anyway. If you like this content, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. That usual general stuff that people ask you to do. What's that? You want to leave us a review? Fantastic. You can leave a 5-star review, wink, wink, at Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, wherever you get this great content. Thank you for choosing to listen to us, and we look forward to bringing you more dumb content in the future. And welcome back, guys. So let's get into what we've been playing. Dave, what have you been playing?
Oh, well, after the Xbox debacle, which what I've been trying to do is I've been wanting to play. I started off the summer by playing Resident Evil 2, and I loved it. I loved the remake, and so I finally had to. And I had heard it was a shorter game, and since my time now that I'm working during the week, my time for gaming is mostly limited to weekends. So I was looking for something a little shorter before I started something longer. So I plugged in Resident Evil 3, and then found out my Xbox had crashed. And but after all that debacle, I finally did get to play it last night. Really enjoying it. However, I can see why there are the complaints that Resident Evil 3 remake should really have just have been a DLC for Resident Evil 2. And it is... I'm kind of kicking myself because I missed like some cool stuff, and I did really good in Resident Evil 2 with that, being sure to explore everything. I even managed to, on my own, find all of the Mr. Raccoon statues, which are these little collectibles you can, break in the game, and then you get. And apparently, it is like a extremely rare achievement. And I'm like, I didn't use a guide; I just managed to find them all as being so thorough. So I always thought, I'll just be able to get back to this area because in Resident Evil 2, before the last point when you're going down into like the Under Raccoon City laboratory, and even the game prompts you that like this is the point of no return. You could go back and you would have to solve puzzles to do so, but you could go back to even like the starting area of the game pretty much. Nope, can't do that in Resident Evil 3. So I'm kicking myself. I missed like part of a jewel puzzle, which would have gotten me even more of an expanded inventory. So I'm kicking myself because I just missed. All I didn't do was I didn't pick the lock to get into the toy store because I kept thinking I would be able to get back there. And unfortunately, the time I did get back there, I had the Nemesis
on your tail,
on my ass, and he is so much worse than the Tyrant from Resident Evil 2. Because first off, the Tyrant was tough because it's just he had parental timing. It's like, why are you here? I would say Nemesis is a bit more scripted, and there will be events where he's definitely pursuing you. But when he does pursue you, he is a nightmare because he can use weapons. He can also jump and leap incredibly far distances to cover. So he just suddenly will appear in front of you, just, blam, because he's leaped and hit the ground. And then also, I've watched enough anime to see where this is going, but he can sprout tentacles from his right arm, which can lash out and grab you and like pull you back towards him. So like Scorpion's get over here move, And so the last time I passed by the toy store, I had that to deal with. So it's just that's not happening. So I am really enjoying the game. I'm just kicking myself because it's just like, I'm a better player than this. I knew it was there. I just couldn't do it. So, but really enjoying it. I actually wouldn't mind trying that RE Resistance game, the multiplayer game, but at the same time, I got to get some friends to buy that game, but I wish you could buy that separately though for like $15, so then we could all try playing it. But you got to buy.
You buy the whole.
You got to buy the whole big thing.
How expensive is Resident Evil 3 now?
I haven't the slightest at the moment, because again, me and Doug really enjoyed the Outbreak series, but. Unfortunately, and I think I've said this before on the podcast, we got into it, and at the time we weren't tech savvy enough to figure out how to plug a PlayStation 2 into the internet. And by the time we did figure it out, it was too late and the servers had been shut down.
So the game's down to $20-$25 now.
Oh, well, I might bug all of you later. Or maybe on like a Christmas or something or another get together. It's like, happy birthday, everybody. Dave, you got us all the same thing. I know.
I didn't say it was your birthday. It was my birthday. Gift for me.
Exactly. Gift for me. Oh, how about you, sir? What have you been playing aside from digital Pokemon?
Like I said, the new season of Destiny started up, and the story is, man, just whenever they left Activision, Bungie has brought the game to a whole new level, where the story is actually told in the game and not just in the lore stuff. You don't have to pay an arm and a leg for everything. You know, it's really coming together. The plot lines are coming together. There's actual twists, turns, and they've got a really cool way they're doing the story now. So instead of it just being like, here's the story, they're rolling it out week by week. So there's like new missions each week. So it's going along in real time. So
I would say that's probably one of the benefits, I would say, for games as a service, as long as they have like good story content, or they've broke it up like a kind of like how like TV shows work. Like you view in once a week, and then it's this for this week. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'll give you a prime example. And for anyone who plays Destiny and hasn't been playing in the last 3 weeks, this is going to be spoilers. But everyone else, you're golden. Okay. And I know you don't care, Dave.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's a character named Osiris. He is an old Guardian that was he was exiled a while back, but was welcomed back to the city after a bunch of stuff. He went on a mission, and his ghost, the thing that lets him resurrect, died, and we brought him back to the city. Well, ever since that he came back, he's been doing slightly weirder things, and has been engaging in things that he wouldn't normally engage with. He's been like playing politics with everyone. Okay. Turns out, when he came back, it wasn't Osiris. It was the big bad Savathun they've been building up, the sister to Oryx, the Taken King.
Oh, okay. So is it like a possession thing, or?
Kind of. She basically had him captured so she could take his form.
Oh, okay.
And so now she revealed herself and has said, okay, you want Osiris back? You need to get this worm god out of me. So we now have to help her to get him back.
Interesting. Well, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right.
It's... Go ahead.
No, now I can't even remember my thought. I'm just... I have a thought about Activision, but we'll get to that after your point is finished.
Well, again, Activision was more worried about the monetization and keeping that income flow.
Mm-hmm.
These stories, there's a season pass that lasts 3 to 6 months, depending on the season, where you get extra activities. But they are not required to do the big tentpole things that continue the story going. And I think that's fantastic.
That is fantastic, yeah. Is it mostly just cosmetic stuff for the season pass, or
so the
maybe
season pass,
some guns or stuff?
The season pass gives you access to a couple weapons and some things to grind for, and weekly missions that you can do.
Okay.
But it doesn't take away from the main story campaigns. It doesn't take away from the strikes or the raids or the Crucible, which is their multiplayer. Their PvP.
Cool.
So all PvP, PvE with the strikes and raids, that's all still free.
Cool.
Yeah, or part of the season pass, or the actual big expansion each year. They do one expansion each year.
I got you. Okay, now to my point on Activision, and it sounds like if listeners remember, our last week's subject was the controversy that is Activision, which is still ongoing, and it seems that Activision is doing everything in their power to do the absolute least amount of mitigating the damage. And so I would describe it as putting Band-Aids on gunshot wounds. So I even joked about it, how they shouldn't do this. And it was about renaming the character Free from Overwatch. Now, they have decided to change the name of Jesse McCree, and I will address this, at least they're doing this as opposed to, we're just changing the name of McCree. But they've decided now from all of their games, they're removing all real-world name references. So
And plus,
or at least they're evaluating all of them, and for the future.
Yeah, and said going forward, they will not use any reference to any developer or employee for naming their characters.
Now, yes, the man, Jesse McCree, is clearly a scumbag, so there is that. But at the same time, we now have an established 5-year character of McCree. However, what I could see them doing now is, like Tyler said last week, going by his code name of Mad Dog, rather than, and then if I were them, rather than, I would say I would leave Jesse McCree still as part of the lore. And they have made mention, I believe you mentioned that Sombra even has a line that she's like, I know what your true name is. Didn't she say that too last week? Oh, well, what am I thinking?
But that's kind of cool.
But if I were them, I would have it be more like kind of like a code name. Like, how James Bond, we're all pretty sure his name is not really James Bond. I would have that be like, his false name. I would leave it in the lore, but, now, like, this is the new thing. That was the old thing. It's still there, but we're not going to continue forward with it.
Yeah, his past has come back, and he is now owning up to it.
Exactly, and I think that would be a great way to address, we did this, and also at the same time not alienate everybody, who we have a 5-year relationship now with this character. But and then also, I would think this would be a great, thing, like maybe make like Jesse. Make McCree, or we'll call him Mad Dog for the podcast reason. Okay. Make Mad Dog actually more of a, maybe he's now more of a Robin Hood, but has a thing for rescuing damsels in distress or something, things like that. And they kind of showed that a little bit in his cinematic where he rescues Echo, and the damsel just happened to also be like an advanced robot AI, which was cool. So, cool. But I still say, though, this is Band-Aids on gunshot wounds. It's like, okay, well, that's a very nice sentiment, but that doesn't solve the problem, Blizzard, Activision.
And evidently, they made things worse.
I heard,
the shredding.
Yep, they have apparently gotten rid of a bunch of documents.
HR documents. Complaints.
Yes. If I believe we had an election, 4 years ago, where the getting rid of a bunch of documents, while might not have been terribly pertinent, it certainly was a sticking point for a lot of people. So,
well, and if they're so committed to the solution, you don't solve a problem by pretending the problem doesn't exist.
Oh, exactly, and that's what they're doing. So, and that's all I want. That's all I wanted to say about Activision. It's just kind of like, ladies and gentlemen, make up your own mind and opinion. But I think the industry is better with more inclusion, because then we get more storylines for games that we really wouldn't have seen before, and I think it has led to some really great stuff. But I know some people do not share that agreement with me. But guess what? There is always entertainment, going to be designed specifically for certain crowds, and that's fine too. You can enjoy that, but you shouldn't shame or be argumentative with people, for wanting the other thing that you don't want,
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Yep.
So,
cis white males, there will always be, dead or alive, to ogle girlies. And I am fully in the support of that. They should also make the girls' version of Dead or Alive. Let's make for inclusion. Let's make a hot Chippendale daddy fighting game. Extreme Beach Chippendale volleyball. If we're going to be inclusive.
just make He-Man the beach game.
No, see, I want Chippendale volleyball game, because then I also want DLC characters Patrick Swayze and Chris Farley.
See, I just want DLC characters of Chip and Dale, the Rescue Rangers.
All for inclusion. I mean, I am a straight white male, but I do find humor in a lot of things, and I think that I would, if they were to make that game just like Magic Mike the video game just for women, I would laugh my ass off. And clearly, I would be like, that game is not for me, but I am glad it exists.
Now,
that is
actually,
hysterical.
I haven't played it yet, but there is a game I think that meets that definition. Boyfriend Dungeon.
Boyfriend Dungeon. Wait. Is this the one where you can date your weapons?
Yes.
Oh, I have heard of that. Oh, that was one I was just like, yes. All right. I think we're going to make it as a society, because just the fact that exists. And also, it's just like, it's also not one of those, this is a game for girls. Oh, it's Party Babies. No. But I can imagine like a lot of, especially people I've met at anime conventions, will be all over that game.
It's on Game Pass too, so.
Oh, gee. I will pass. That game is not for me, but I'm glad it exists. Because I already have my own version, which isn't that Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
It really is. It really is.
Okay.
Can we just, for a quick second, I really hope the rumors are true and they're working on Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
I wouldn't be surprised also, though, if we got Xenoblade Chronicles X on Switch, because
because free money.
Exactly. Yeah, that's one of the last few games that have not been ported over from Wii U, and it just, as soon as we get that and the HD remasters for Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, I think we can finally put the tombstone on the Wii U.
The Wii U, yeah.
Unfortunately. Okay, so how about topic time?
Topic time. Topics. So this week we are going to talk about what we feel are the best soundtracks for video games.
Yes.
So Dave, let's lay some ground rules here. So I want to make sure me and you are on the same page. So when I'm thinking soundtracks, I don't think individual song. I'm thinking about a game whose whole playthrough is just banger after banger after banger.
And that's what I was thinking too. One of the rules and stipulations that I picked also was I left out Smash Brothers, because that game, of course, has an amazing soundtrack, but that's because it is taking and picking the bangers from the select games in the series and making that their soundtrack, or reworking songs to be that soundtrack. So I left that out because it's a compilation of the best of. So of course it was going to be amazing.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to start off here with one that won't make sense at first until you really think about it.
Okay.
Nier Automata.
Oh, no, actually I agree that does make sense, because there are some. I still hum tunes from that game. Yeah.
I listen to that soundtrack at least once a week.
Yeah. No, and I love the voice work that they do in that game. I enjoyed it so much, I was even looking up online. I'm like, what language is this in? And come to find out, it's a made up like otherworldly being language they made up for the game. But it still was so emotional and fitting that
Oh yeah,
I remember. The little robot village song with the children singing, and
And I just like how the main theme, with the different playthroughs, changes subtly to match the tone of what's going on.
Oh yes, very much so.
And just the deep dum bum 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 bum, like when you get into battle parts, and
I like also how they would mix in like, especially some of like the alien robot boss fight themes. They incorporated like the voice lines of the robots as to what was going on in the situation. So, I mean, I don't probably have to remind you of the "We Must Become as God" song that sticks in your head because
right
of what the robots were doing at the moment, and then at the same time, that was repeating over and over as part of the music track.
Yep. Oh, chef kiss, just fantastic.
Now, all right. Anything else you want to add for Nier Automata?
I think we kind of covered the basics there. Like I said, it's varied, it's personal, it matches the tone, and it's just something you can listen to all the time.
Now, what I did was I really gave it some thought because I was trying to think, because there's the soundtrack though that for me though that I listen to weekly though is and it's really just banger after banger after banger is Persona 5.
I was thinking that one too. Last Surprise.
Last Surprise. Beneath That Mask, the Rainfall edition with lyrics. Last Surprise is amazing. That I also love the Take Over version, which is in Persona 5 Royal. If you do a sneak attack on an enemy, it plays that song instead of Last Surprise. Yeah, and that's really good as well. And then you have the like when it's kind of a melancholy moment in the game, and the music will change to shift and fit, and it always just seems really appropriate. But always having its own unique style that is always clearly its own. And I just have
jazz sound.
Yeah, the Shoji Meguro playlist on my. I have a Sony Walkman which has the Shoji Meguro playlist, but it's also got music from Persona 4, which, and just to put it in perspective how good Persona 5 was, I enjoyed Persona 4 to the point where I'm just like, wow, I don't think RPGs can get better. And then Persona 5 comes out, and it's just like, now I don't know how RPGs are going to get better.
Yeah, Persona 5 is just like, hold my beer.
Exactly. And just the music, though, is definitely, he has a distinct style. And what was even cooler then is I was looking at his musical inspirations for that, and it led me to discover like actual like acid jazz bands that I now have on the Shoji Meguro playlist, which is like
nice.
The bands like Jamiroquai and stuff like that. So that works along too. But that was what I was thinking as my more modern take, because game music has just gotten so much better. And that was the one that stuck in for me for modern day. But I also tried to think, well, what was the one, though, that was first just truly to me, like, was really, like, great music that really, for me, like, the first one that had tracks that I still hum to this day. And I got to go with Super Mario 64.
Oh, yeah.
Even we still use that music constantly for memes on the internet. Like if there's ever a Mario meme, you're usually going to have like the Bob-omb Battlefield music or the race theme, and like I could even remember the meme now, and it's just that race theme music, but it's like a picture of them using like a fish, like salmon transport system to help them get above a dam that had not been built there. And so they have made this literal, like, kind of like hose shuttle system that literally like shoots these fish. But what they did was they took the salmon and they put Mario music and Mario sound effects over it. So, you just see this fish shooting through the tube, like, wah! And stuff like
probably to the slide music. Dun,
yeah,
dun,
exactly.
Dun.
That's what I meant. The slide music is what I meant by the race music, because I believe it also plays in like the Penguin race and the Koopa.
The Koopa race.
Yeah, the Koopa the Quick.
Yep.
But and then also you got like the really mellow, just kind of soulful ones like Dire Dire Docks, which I am deeply disappointed that Nintendo has not brought that song back for like other water levels. But that was one just, I mean, I made it a point, and this was how hard it was back in, gosh, it was 97. I managed to find, and just also how, little money I had at that point as a kid, but I found at Walmart, and it was this crazy, like, weird Nintendo Power box, but it included the soundtrack to Super Mario 64 on CD. And if you bought that box, it gave you the soundtrack and you got a year's subscription to Nintendo Power. And I had to wait until that thing went on clearance for $10 before I could finally afford it.
Nice.
But I can still. What was great is so I got a year subscription to Nintendo Power because that thing didn't expire, and I got the soundtrack, and and I kept that subscription until the magazine ceased publication. So, but I still have that soundtrack in case I have a drawer filled with CDs, and that's in there.
Nice, very nice. Yep. If we're going to go a little more old school, because I was thinking about this as well, I'd have to go Street Fighter 2.
Oh, that's a good one too. Yeah.
That was the first game where you could the music really amplified the fights, and especially how it like sped up at the end when you're getting close to the end.
Yeah, and I will say though certain stages were definitely better than others, but you're right. Guile's theme, goes with everything.
Ken's theme.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just hearing in my head right now. I will go on Apple Music and just try to find remakes of these songs and just listen to them over and over again.
Even in the arcades, that opening, what did they call that? That demo reel to kind of excite you to get people to play the game. Dun 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 dun, and then you see the two characters punch each other, and then it screens up the building to Street Fighter 2. I can still remember Chun-Li's stage that
the street market.
The street with the very clearly like Chinese influenced scales for using for the music, and it felt very appropriate for a Street Fighter arena. I remember Vegas stage being
with that very dun, 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 dun.
Yep, and they're like aren't they flamenco dancers in the background too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, that was all very appropriate for that game. It's just, but there were some that it's just like what's Zangief's theme? What?
That is true. There are some, but the ones that are good, they stand out so much
they were good. They were good. Yes.
Yeah. That is one thing I feel like Street Fighter has always done a phenomenal job of that Mortal Kombat has just been dog poop on, is the soundtrack.
Yeah, exactly. I've been trying to think. I'm like, what Mortal Kombat song do I, hum continually? And it's one that wasn't even in the game. It's it was the Techno Syndrome song that they made for the album that they advertised in the game.
Yeah, I mean the albums to the movies, those are fantastic.
Yeah,
Angle on there from Rammstein and
Juke Joint Jezebel, KMFDM, just great stuff. But even the soundtrack to Annihilation is good, although that movie was hot garbage. But
I still have to make my wife finish watching that.
Some of the best house music and techno music of the 90s is on those albums. But yeah, Mortal Kombat is definitely and some fighting games in general, just, and I get that, you want the focus to be the fighting, but at the same time, it is also really nice, though, to have like a jamming song in the background that just, pumps you up, gets your jock jams going,
So, go ahead.
That was one thing that I remember being so disappointed about with Mortal Kombat 9, because I was inviting people over and I was trying to figure out how to do the, I know PlayStation 3 had advertised, you can do your own game soundtracks to certain games and stuff like that. I was trying so hard to figure that out for Mortal Kombat 9, and I was just trying to put the movie soundtracks in there, and I couldn't. it wouldn't do it.
All right. So
yes.
Speaking of albums that really get your blood going, or games that get your blood going, it's not a game that's like super, personal to me or you, I don't think, but had one of the best licensed soundtracks a game has ever had.
Okay.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, you got Papa Roach. You've got Goldfinger with Superman. Oh, that song. They've got Rage Against the Machine.
CKY.
CKY.
No, I wasn't a huge Tony Hawk fan, but even I have to admit, I enjoyed playing it. And me and Doug did enjoy the crap out of the soundtracks. And I think Doug's even more so than me because he became the music member of the family. I became the visual arts member of the family. But no, the Tony Hawk games did usually have some of the best licensed music.
100%.
And then there were other games that tried, and we might have one or two songs that are good. Like I remember us, enjoying like the 1080.
Cauterize.
Cauterize 1080 Avalanche soundtrack. We enjoyed that, but then they had other things in there. Like was the band called like what Finger 11 or something? And exactly, I that face kind of sums it up. I'm Star Lord. So and then some games like play it up for fun, like it doesn't like at the end of like the Saints Row game, don't they play like I Need a Hero?
Probably.
And I love it when they do that, but also at the same time, these licensed soundtracks can actually become a problem, is because we want to re-release the game. Well, you only bought the rights to the music for da-da-da-da, and I'm like, is that how it works for movies too? Why doesn't it work like that for games? Because like when you release a movie and then like you publish the DVD or Blu-ray, it's on there. It will be on there forever. Why is it so different with video games? Like, how does the license run out?
I think the big difference is with movies, the film never changes. With video games, the game can change, so they no longer have ideas of if they're okay with it being associated with this constantly evolving game.
Well, but I've seen that on the other end of the spectrum. Like, I love the Remedy universe games, Alan Wake in Xbox 360. Mm-hmm. And Alan Wake had to go off the store for a while, and the game had not changed. They had to take the game off the store because the licensing for the song Lime and the Coconut had expired. And it's just like, how does that work? And it eventually got back on, but it's just like, that is so stupid,
I imagine it was a problem that we definitely saw a lot more in the early days of video games, but as video game developers have gotten more clout, and let's face it, video games make more money than any other entertainment industry now.
Combined.
Combined.
And with COVID, it got even more so. And I was actually able to use this when I was setting up the esports program at work for the students, because me and the team captain for Rocket League, we put our heads together, and then we were able to find articles that proved that during COVID now, because football the profit margin had gone down, it now made more than all combined. Now, before that, it made more than all combined if you excluded the NFL. But now it does, because, video game playing went through the roof because of COVID. And, yes, they might have more clout, but that still has held up a few things. Like, now, they didn't publicly make it a thing at the time, and I think because maybe court cases and things like that, but Michael Jackson had a hand in the soundtrack for Sonic the Hedgehog 3. And because of that, though, and since his death, they haven't. Sonic 3 is stuck in a bit of a limbo area because, his name is still associated with that music, and the estate still wants that money, but it's just kind of like that game is over 20 years old, And he wasn't even credited because of stuff like that. But he might not be credited in game, but he's still credited on the paperwork, I guess.
Yeah. That reminds me, there's a great new documentary on Netflix you should check out on Bob Ross.
Oh, yes.
And how after someone passes, that's made such an impact, how even if it goes against their wishes, the estate or the holder of the intellectual property can just ruin things.
Oh, yeah. And I think one of the best I've heard about those actually was Harper Lee. And it was actually done by the comedian Randy Feltface.
Okay.
And he Harper Lee, who wrote To Kill a Mockingbird. Right. And then, basically she wrote such a good book that was so monumental for its time that it was just like she never wrote anything else. But she had previously written Ghost Set a Watchman, which was the sequel. She had actually written before, and I might be misquoting, but she had had actually been written, I think, before To Kill a Mockingbird. Decided it wasn't very good, and then after the success of To Kill a Mockingbird and how it became this, kind of this linchpin, especially for like race relations and stuff like that, she's just like, I'm never going to release this. Then, as it keeps going, she starts, losing, starts suffering from dementia and senility. And luckily, her older sister had been her manager for years. And apparently, there was this lawyer for the estate who, saw that, there's this book locked away in basically a vault, that the unpublished Harper Lee novel that she did not want published, but and the sister, luckily the older sister, managed to hold him off for the longest time, but the woman eventually passed at like 100, and then with Harper Lee suffering senility, this guy finally was able to, get her to sign on the dotted line, yes, we can release this book, as she's out of her mind. And then now people were just kind of like, wow, Scout's dad, really, Atticus Finch. Oh, Atticus Finch was actually, he was actually a terrible man. And it's just kind of like, wow, because you were so greedy, you seem to have undone a lot, Yep. Atticus, I haven't read that novel since high school, but it does. The movie with Greg Peck does leave such an impact on you. But it's just
it really does.
Yeah.
That might be the pinnacle of acting.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's just kind of it's just so weird how these rights and such can be such a pain in the butt after someone's even gone. But sorry, this is a gaming podcast, ladies and gentlemen. But to bring it back from gaming, you can watch the entirety of To Kill a Mockingbird on the video game The Darkness.
Really?
You meet up with your girlfriend and you sit on her couch to watch TV in like a nice somber moment, and To Kill a Mockingbird starts playing on the TV, the actual film. And if you want to, you can sit and watch the whole movie. Now, they expect you to maybe leave after like a minute or two. If you stay longer than 5, you get an achievement. There's no achievement for watching the whole thing, however.
There should be.
Yeah, there should be, but there's not. So if you're ever interested in To Kill a Mockingbird, but then also at the same time, being possessed by an ancient eldritch force of, the void of what the universe was before creation, and then killing, gangsters and mobsters with goblins and tentacles, there's that. Good game, real good game, made by Starbreeze.
That's one I've never played that I've always thought I need to give a go.
Yep. And apparently, their Chronicles of Riddick game was actually one of the best licensed games of all time, too. So, Escape from Butcher Bay. So who knows? Who knows?
That reminds me. I was gonna say that reminds me of another great game soundtrack. I need a shout out.
Oh yeah,
Scott Pilgrim versus the World soundtrack by Anamanaguchi.
Yes, that is a great soundtrack. That's probably the only Scott Pilgrim medium that I think I actually truly enjoy is the game.
Yeah.
And I might lose my nerd cred for with Scott Pilgrim. I just find the character of Scott so unlikable, and but the game is just so much fun, and all the scenes are told in like old school pantomime, so it makes it a bit more charming. The fact that he's willing to completely disregard this young impressionable girl while at the same time beating up all of the exes to this one other girl just so he has a chance with dating her, and it's just like
yeah. I do feel the comics do a better job of fleshing out, making go, yes, he has been terrible, and it's him owning up to it. Mm-hmm. The movie, not so much. It did not give that closure it needed. Mm-hmm. But that movie had style for days.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did, and it was great to hear like game music and stuff in the background. But I guess maybe another thing, like, I felt it a little bit of pandering, and it's just, I guess I was still coming out of the feeling it's just like, wow, a movie finally made for people like me. But I'm just like, but at the same time, I had been made fun of through all of elementary and middle school, and it wasn't until high school when people started realizing, oh, this stuff is fun, and oh, PlayStation 2 is cool, that it's just kind of like, you guys made fun of me for this same crap for years, and now we have a movie that's completely pandering for me. And I guess some people took it in stride, but at the same time, I was also kind of like, you.
That's one I'll probably have to censor there.
Yep. Or you can at least let it just say holes,
Or I might just put in, you donut holes.
Yes, donut.
Donut. Well, any other major gaming call-outs you want to give, Dave? For music?
For soundtrack.
For soundtrack, yeah.
I'm trying, I basically said my two big ones that I constantly keep on, my little Sony digital Walkman that I use. There are other games that I definitely pull soundtracks from. I do have to give a big shout out for the Doom soundtracks for the last two games. Mick Gordon's work was spectacular, but at the same time, they fit very appropriately for the games. However, I guess for the style, though, they aren't necessarily the ones I am listening to all the time in my own personal time. But I still got to love, there's a reason the meme exists called When the Doom Music Kicks In. And it's just, that stuff was amazing. And it definitely got you amped for whatever was coming your way in that game.
Oh, yeah.
And just all the work that he put into that, even the transitions between songs were just seamless, was amazing. And so that's another one I feel deserves a great shout out.
I'm going to shout out one more game here because I remember you would listen to it in your car all the time in high school.
Oh, yeah?
The soundtrack to Sonic Adventure 2.
Yep. I did listen to that a lot.
Oh.
Crush 40. Yep.
Follow me.
Yep. Escape from the City was a great song. Yep. I don't know, Sega for a while there, especially with Adventure 1 and Adventure 2, had some really good stuff going, and then it's just kind of like, and I always found that there were things to enjoy about some of the others. Like, I enjoyed Sonic Hero. But then it's just like, they kept hyping promises, and then they just never returned on those promises.
Yeah.
Sonic 06.
I'm still waiting to see where Sonic goes in the future. Sonic Mania was fantastic, but
yeah, it was. And Sonic Forces was, it was okay.
Yeah. I think they really need to just realize that Sonic's not really made for 3D. It's a great 2D game that really gives you a sense of speed, but the 3D ones have always been, the gameplay has been nothing more than okay.
Yeah. Adventure was probably not. What was the one for the? Oh, I'm getting them mixed up because Sonic Adventure was probably the best 3D one they had, and I guess maybe that also might have been its newness. But I mean, some of the best ones that we have, like people always talk really highly of, like Sonic Colors, 2D, Sonic Generations, half the game is in 2D. We also got Sonic Advance 1 and 2. Those were great. Sonic Rush, those were great.
Oh, Sonic Rush was fantastic.
Exactly, but again, those were 2D. People even talk highly of Sonic Rivals, which was like the PSP only game, so those were 2D as well.
Oh, yeah.
And
let's not forget that at one point, BioWare made a Sonic RPG for the Game Boy Advance.
Yes, they did. And all of the Archie comic fans just roared into existence, Penders, with an angry furor. I don't know everything. I used to read the Archie comics back in the day when like the issues were in the 30s and then stopped. But I do know that there was a controversy with like one of the Archie comics creators in that he created like a bunch of characters for Sonic the Hedgehog, but because like they couldn't find the paperwork that said, that Sega owned these because it was created for a Sega property, that he then could retain ownership of these characters that he created, and then ended up like, completely just ruining things. And so people, screech his name in terror, but and apparently BioWare used a lot of very similar themes from his work, so that's why that game, didn't ever get like a reprint edition or anything.
Right.
Yeah. That's a bit more about Sonic fandom than I ever wanted to know, but just it was so fascinating to read, and it's just like, wait, Sonic the comic really got that involved? Maybe I should have kept reading. And I'm like, oh, wait, no. But then I'd be like those weird Sonic fans.
I was going to say, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure I saw a YouTube video once where they're explaining how in the Archie comics, Knuckles became his own grandpa or something.
Oh, Mr. I'm my own grandpa. Yeah, I did the nasty and the basty.
Yeah, there was some weird incestuous stuff evidently with Knuckles in that series.
Well, at least he'd be able to win against the big brain hive mind.
There you go.
The big brain am winning again.
Well, on that note, I think that makes for another successful episode. Thank you for watching.
Yes.
If you'd like to support us, please like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. Leave us a comment. We'll read them on air. We'll discuss them. We'll tell you why your idea is a bad idea if it's a bad one. If it's a good one, we'll tell you it's a bad idea and take it for our own.
And if not, and if it's neither of those, we'll just laugh about it behind your back.
Yeah. No, seriously, any feedback we would honestly appreciate. Thank you so much for listening. And until next time, game on.